Hey friends, Dave Burkus here. Welcome back to the Daily Burk. Today we're talking about how to deal with a poor performer at work. So you're a manager or a well-meaning teammate, but mostly a manager, and you've got that employee that just isn't pulling his or her weight. You've got that employee that is lagging behind in performance, and you've got to figure out what to do. Congratulations, by the way. Whenever you were promoted into management, the day you have to deal with a poor performer is the day your management career actually began. Now, the first thing you've got to figure out, there are really two reasons. We'll break them down into a couple subcategories, but there's primarily two reasons for poor performance. The first is the system. And there's a couple things involved in the system, but it's the environment, the system that employee is being asked to operate in. And then the second is the employee themselves. Now, I'm actually a big fan of W. Edwards Deming, the legendary organizational industrial psychologist. I'm a fan of his 85-15 rule, which is that if you look at a poor performer, 85% of the time it will probably be the system, not the person explaining that poor performance. And the system can be anything. The system can be that they don't have the resources they need, or that they're encountering difficulties that you're not seeing, dealing with other coworkers or other infrastructure. The system can also be that, I'll be honest with you, that you yourself were not clear about what your expectations are. A lot of poor performance is actually poor clarity around expectations. The employee thinks he or she is doing fine, and they're surprised to hear that they are a poor performer. Those are all in that system category. And you want to make sure if it is that system category, then your conversation shouldn't be about their poor performance. It should be about what can you do to help them tweak that system or to move them to a system where they will thrive. Now, the second thing is the employees themselves. And even here, it may or may not be what we would traditionally call the employee's fault, right? So inside of the employee, there's a lot of things inside of an employee because they're human, but there are two fundamental kind of elements when it comes to this performance. The first is capability. Do they have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to actually do the job? Or do they need some help with training? Do they need some help acquiring sort of new skills? Were they thrust into that role unprepared, and now we need to make sure that they actually have the capability to do it? Outside of capability, there's also the motivation piece. Are they actually motivated to do the job? Do they want to do the job? Do they just have a bad attitude about you and the company as a whole? That motivation piece, that's the 15% that we're talking about when we say it's actually their fault and you really shouldn't be having a conversation about performance. You should be inviting them to be successful somewhere else. So how do you deal with poor performers as a whole? The first thing you need to figure out is it the system? Is it the capabilities? Or is it something you as a manager need to provide or need to aid in to help unlock their ability to perform better? Or is it a motivational issue? And if it's a motivational issue, then you've got to do the hard work, not of helping them in poor performance, but of helping them see that this probably isn't a fit, and it's in everyone's best interest if we start talking about either another role in the organization or another organization. Thanks so much for watching this episode of The Daily Burk. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you've ever had this conversation or been confronted with this conversation on how it went, how you wish it would have went. And while you are leaving that comment, make sure you are followed or subscribed to the show, because we're posting new episodes every single weekday designed to help you do your best work ever. And I want to make sure that you don't miss them. Thank you again so much for watching The Daily Burk.